The Chiefs get some great news for the offseason, and we're going to talk about it. Good morning, Chiefs Kingdom. How's it going? We hope you're staying safe in the blizzard out there. We got it going crazy here in Kentucky. But I hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for joining us this morning. Please do us a favor. Hit that like button for us while Mike tells you about who's powering this live stream.
This live stream is powered by BetUS. Head over to betus.com. Check out what they got going on. Use code YouTube150. Get a 150% deposit match bonus on your first deposit. On the next two, you're going to get 125% deposit match bonuses. Those are up to $2,000, so take advantage of all those free plays. The site's easy to use, plenty of props on there. Go to betus.com, use promo code YouTube150. Let them know All Chiefed Up sent you their way. Steve, Chiefs, we took a beating yesterday. We took a flat out, just an ass whooping.
Man,
hey, you know what's funny? Like, I don't know what's funnier, scrolling social media and watching Denver fans being like, we finally got payback on the Chiefs.
Bro.
I don't know if that's more funny or the fact that Cincy still somehow made a Chiefs blowout in Week 18 all about them. Like, what?
Can't handle Bengals fans.
How
They're
do
such
the Bengals,
losers.
The Bengals can make everything about the Bengals.
They're such
ridiculous.
losers. They're just...
Yeah. They're beyond losers, Steve. You can just stop calling them losers. Like, losers is too nice of a word.
They're slap nuts. They're
pathetic.
dipshits.
It's pathetic. Yeah, so, on a day that you get pounded 38-0, you know, and we'll get into that game in a little bit because we didn't do a post game. Was there any point to do a post game? Did anybody really get on here and care?
Do you know what I find funny? I find just as funny as the Bengals fans making it about the Bengals or the Broncos fans thinking they got something on the Chiefs. Is the Chiefs fans that took the game entirely way too seriously.
Way too serious, dude.
Like, dude, there were people on Facebook posting some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen in my life.
Some dude actually thought that the league could take away our number one seed.
Yes, I sent you that.
What?
He said, man, we're playing so bad. I think they're going to take away our number one seed and give it to Buffalo. I was like, what
are you talking about? Like, people have the Chiefs.
It's not how this works, bro.
The Chiefs have broken everyone to the point where they don't even understand how football functions anymore. It's beyond crazy how these people are. But on a day that you could be 38-0 and all the fan bases are trying to make it about them, the Chiefs actually got some great news yesterday for the offseason. And you might think it might be Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill said, I'm not going back in the game. I want out of Miami. And they now said that the Chiefs are probably the number one landing spot for Tyreek Hill. But it has to be via trade. And I really don't know if that's going to happen. I'll never say never with Brett Veach, but that's not the big news. That's not the big news. We may talk about that a little bit more. The big news was that the Titans took an L yesterday, and the Patriots actually found a way to get a win. So, as it sits right now, the Titans have the number one pick in the draft in the first round. So the Titans, the Browns, and the Giants are all now 3-14. But what you didn't know is that the tiebreaker only applies to the first round. So the Titans will get the first pick in the first round, but in the second round, they'll get the third pick, and in the third round, they'll get the second pick. And those three kind of trade all that off. So it won't just be Titans, Titans, Titans. That's not the way it's going to work anymore. I don't know. They've been doing it for a while, apparently, but it just never comes down to this. So the way it's looking is like we're going to have number 66 for L'Jarius Sneed, which will be the second pick in the third round. So that is the big news, Steve. And I think Veach proved again, in the offseason. He's like, hey, I'll franchise tag him, I'll trade him, and I'm going to end up with the second pick in the third round, which is essentially a round 2 pick. We're used to picking right there at the end of the second round anyway.
Right. So the Patriots had an abysmal day yesterday. I mean, first of all, you don't just win in the last week of the season if you have the number 1 pick and you're planning on firing your head coach after
Yeah,
the game.
the head coach wins. It's like, what were
Like-
you trying to save? Like you wasn't saving your job. What are you doing?
He was
But I
trying
guess-
to save his job, and they
Yeah,
were
but
too busy.
He wasn't going to be saved. But the thing is like, I guess he don't care that he screwed him out of a number 1 pick with that win. I think he finds some satisfaction out of it now, right?
I'm sure he does. And Mike Vrabel will be there soon. But I
didn't even think about that. You think Mike Vrabel would be he's not coaching anywhere, is he?
no, I mean
He's probably an assistant somewhere or something,
he was
right?
a longtime Patriot. He'll be there. Give it time.
How funny would it be if they tried to beg Bill Belichick to come back after a season?
That's not going to happen.
Well, yeah, he's with North Carolina, but how funny would it have been?
I wouldn't be surprised if they haven't tried it already, or at least like in an advisor
Surely
role
not,
or something.
right?
I wouldn't think so, but who knows? But either way, the Chiefs are going to have the last pick in the second round and the second pick in the third round. So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
I mean, Brett Veach could get one
that's
of
a
those
basic
little
back-to-back.
Yeah, they could get a little back-to-back action. Last time he had picks that close, that early in the draft, we ended up with Trent McDuffie and George Karlaftis.
Right. He'll be able to use a lot of maneuverability now because of that. Look, it was a big deal in the offseason. Like, we knew we couldn't keep Sneed because Sneed was wanting a little bit too much money. We just couldn't afford it. I mean, I'm sure if we would have moved some stuff around, Brett Veach could have found a way to do it. He probably could have. Now, I don't know if you would have got all these guys signed in the offseason for contract extensions, and then he's still got to deal with, coming up this year. You got Nick Bowden, you got Trey Smith, you got a mess on your hands coming up. So he done the best he could, and to be honest, he got about as good as he was going to get out of Sneed. And Sneed didn't have the best year this year. Surprise, surprise. You left Spag's system, you went over to the Titans, and you kind of flubbed up, but.
That and he can't stay healthy,
Well, that was a big
too.
reason we didn't want to pay him all that money, I believe.
I think there's a lot of reasons. I think it was Ron Kopp Jr. He tweeted yesterday, and he's like, "Man, two just gets so many penalties. It's unreal." And I reposted it and was just like, "It's almost like we never lost L'Jarius Sneed." Because that's all he did was get a lot of penalties.
That's
that's
true,
what
but
we're used
Sneed
to.
did play about 10 times the amount of snaps, so.
Agreed.
Well,
I understand, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I Kopp was like, yeah, we got he's a better option than anybody we got. Not saying he's not, which is like we've been calling this out since the beginning of the season. I don't know why nobody could see that one, but yeah, a lot of people call those penalties out with Josh Williams, and it's like the majority of those are going to be on special teams, and that has nothing to do with your CB2 ability. And aggressive corners, physical corners, get flagged. That's just what's going to happen in this league. You just got to live with it. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. But that one penalty yesterday, it ended up getting declined because it didn't even matter. Somebody caught a ball anyway, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, I'll give it to him. Josh Williams got to clean some of that up. I mean, but at the same time, that really does not bother me. I would much rather deal with his one penalty a game, 2 penalties a game, than Najee struggling. That dude out there.
Struggling with it.
He was getting beat by a guy named Lil Jordan.
Mike.
Steve, if a guy named Lil Jordan beats you on a route, you can't be a corner in this league anymore.
That's his real government name.
His government name is Lil Jordan. Like, his mom determined that he was going to be a rapper from the time he was in the womb. And and then he just had to fall back on football because he couldn't rap. And then he gets beat. He beats Najee Johnson.
But then he's big. He's like 6'4", dude. Like, I don't know if that was the right name.
I think basketball was his first choice. He couldn't shoot either. So football's like his third choice. And Najee Johnson's getting just smoked by this dude.
Najee's having a rough go at it. And that's the thing. It's very strange because Najee has great fundamentals. And he can be a good corner. But he's a converted safety. For safety in college. I think he might have played some corner in college too. But converted safety, and I don't know, man. I don't know what the deal is. I think maybe he dealt with a lot of injuries early on, so I don't know if that's in his head a little bit. Maybe he's just not mentally capable of being 100% right now. I don't know if it could be something like that, but Najee's having a tough go at it. So I'm with you. I think Josh Williams is that guy right now. So,
Well, hopefully soon it's going to be Watson's show yet again. Steve, we got a 2-bomb here from Perry. It says, glad we played a close, competitive, one-score game. I tweeted at the half that it was, I think it was 24-0 at the half, and I was like, look, the Chiefs are playing this one entirely way too close for comfort.
Dude,
it's one of those things where, like, you cannot appreciate the 2-bomb, Perry, but you cannot look at that game as a Chiefs fan and try to determine anything out of that.
Mike, we had a good time with it yesterday. Like, it was pure comedy. Like, yeah, I don't know about you, but like,
it was exactly what they wanted to do. There was no doubt about it.
I could go as far as to say it could have been one of the funnest weeks of the season.
It was hilarious
because
every time that a play happened that did not go the Chiefs' way, I just knew there was a Bengals fan cringing.
It was a culmination of, you had a 15-1 season. Like, it wasn't easy. It wasn't always easy. The games were close. Some of the players struggled. Patrick had a rough year, but I mean, he got through it. 7 game-winning drives, all kinds of injuries, just ridiculous amount of injuries. But you got 15-1 with the 1 seed locked. So I mean, yesterday it was almost like a celebration of that. Like, you know what? It doesn't matter if Denver beats us 80-0. The Bengals are getting screwed, and we're resting for the 1 seed, a divisional round game 2 weeks from now.
It's look, we're all professionals. The Chiefs are a professional football team. The Bengals are a professional football team. Wake up. The games at the beginning of the season count. You can't start the season 1-4 and have 4 wins by the time December gets here, and then expect us to have to play our starters to usher you into the playoffs, or else we're scared of you.
Right.
What the Bengals fans have found a way. They make everything about themselves to the point they are just delusional, beyond delusional. Like, nobody's scared of you. Okay, nobody's scared of you. Not a single player. You wasn't going to beat Buffalo. You wasn't going to beat Buffalo. I honestly think Denver has a better chance of beating Buffalo than the Bengals. Why? Because the Bengals can't stop anybody. Josh Allen would have probably scored 24 touchdowns.
You're right.
So
I agree.
So the Bengals are just ridiculous. But the Chiefs, it was not the Chiefs' job to risk our starters so that you could get a free pass into the playoffs. That was on you for not winning football games.
Absolutely. I mean, they lost to the freaking New England Patriots to start the season off.
Yeah, first game of the year, get beat by the Patriots, who, you know, what, 4
They
wins?
started, what, 1-4 to start the season off, or 1-3?
I mean, come on.
It's like, I don't care anything about that. But I did have a lot of fun with it because their fans are so stupid. It was just a good time on X trolling and stuff because they're dead serious about it too. Like, man, the Chiefs have really got to win this one. Good luck.
For sure. Chief KT with the 2 says, Wentz's ass, starters in or out. See, this is, look, a lot of people had this. A lot of people's dogging everybody. Look, Wentz come in there, and Wentz played with an offensive line you bought from the Dollar Tree. Not even the Family Dollar. Not even the Dollar General. You went to the Dollar Tree.
The $1.25 tree now.
Yeah, I don't know what it
economy.
is. You even went worse than that. You went to the dumpster behind Kroger and pulled out a couple guys to put on his offensive line. Then you took away every single playmaker the dude had.
Not to mention, you're playing the number 2 defense in all of football with the best pass rush.
Come on. Look, this guy was set up for failure. Poor Prince Harry was set up for a failure.
I was trying to tell people that yesterday.
You cannot determine anything out of that game.
Absolutely not. And actually, he made a couple tough throws, and Nico played pretty well early on. But it's like, there's no way you can judge Carson Wentz off of yesterday. You put him
anybody off that game,
right?
Yesterday.
You put Carson Wentz in with our first team, and he's going to look completely different.
Yeah, the ball probably gets moved.
I'm not saying
I'm not saying he'd be
Mahomes. Yeah, not by any means. But I mean, that's
I think
just
people
not
were watching that
judge.
game a little too critical. It was like, as a Chiefs fan, look, all year long, we've got our starters out there all year. And Steve, me and you're like, we don't look very good. This is week 12, and we kind of look like ass. We can't get the ball in the end zone. And people's tearing us down in the comments being like, you guys are overly critical. And then we play our fourth string guys off the freaking team doctor was playing left guard, okay? And then everybody's now overly critical and telling us we're not critical. What gives? Why gives?
It doesn't
I have
matter.
no idea.
You can't win.
Yeah, you can't. But also, look, you can't determine nothing off that game. It was ridiculous. People that panicked over that game, what are you doing? Perry with another 5. He says, so tired of hearing about the Joey B hype. People must forget Mahomes has missed less Super Bowls than Burrow has playoffs. Yeah. Look, Joey Burrow had a good year this year. Burrow had a good year. I'll give him credit. His team, though, ass. And that's why they don't deserve to be in the playoffs. They're not a playoff team. I don't care how much they want to be a playoff team. They're not. It's just, it's not there. So, in my opinion, the better team got in the playoffs. The Broncos are a better team right now. They got a better defense. Their offense might not be as powerful as Cincinnati's, but they're overall better team. And I think the right team got in the playoffs. I'm not going to sway anything. Like, they want to say the Chiefs, they've swayed the thing before Denver. Well, Denver has to play the Chiefs twice in a year.
Right.
So Denver's got an automatic behind the 8 ball compared to the Bengals anyway. The Bengals only had to play us once. So why was it fair that we had to play them? Why was it fair that the Broncos had to get beat by us twice then to get the Bengals in? So see, you can play the fairness game back and forth all day. But when it comes down to it, the Bengals were not a better team than Denver this year.
No, absolutely not. And that's the thing. And they want to be all up on Joe Burrow's sack, talk about MVP and stuff. And hats off to the guy. He did play well towards the end of the season and almost got his team into the playoffs. But the word is almost. I mean, why are you talking about MVP for a guy that couldn't even get his team into the playoffs? That's wild. So, I mean, all the hype of Joey B right now, I'm not buying. I'm still selling on Joey B at the moment. Like, I think he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league, but he's not the top. He's not near the top. He can't get his team to the playoffs with Cadillacs as wide receivers. It's just not. I know their defense.
To be fair, his defense
I
sucks.
know their defense sucks. That's what I was getting ready to say, but I don't care. I just don't.
Joe Burrow, for me, I'm taking him in the top 3. I can't name any other quarterback besides maybe Josh Allen that I would rather have over Joe Burrow. And that includes Lamar Jackson.
Man,
I would rather have Joe Burrow than Lamar Jackson.
I have a weird view, I guess, compared to most people of the MVP race, and I just find it silly that Joe Burrow would be in the conversation.
Well, it's a statistical thing. It's the NBA. It's just all about stats. It's not about how good your team is or how many wins you got. If that's the case, Mahomes would be in there.
Right, but I mean, even if you look at last year, I mean, Joe Burrow was out for most of the year, and they had a winning record with Jake Browning.
Defense was better.
Sure, you talk about their defense sucking, but I mean, they've had their moments, but they've had some good games too. They also had
only against the Chiefs. That was the only good defensive game.
That's not true. That's not true. They had a handful there in this last little run, and Trey Hendrickson is a dog.
Trey Hendrickson's good, but he's
the sack leader in the entire league, bro.
Just he's literally it. I'm very curious what they are ranked as a defense.
I think that's an excuse, though. That's an excuse.
They've allowed 434 points, which was 27th in football.
See, it's an excuse.
They were the 22nd ranked defense. Yeah. So, I mean, they're a bottom half. I mean, they're bottom quarter defense,
big deal,
by the way.
How many times did the Chiefs make the playoffs with the bottom half defense?
I mean, I'm not saying it's that, but I'm just saying, like, Joe Burrow put up a lot of numbers, so, like, you can't really blame Joe Burrow.
I'm not blaming. Well, I am kind of.
You are. You're blaming Burrow as if he could change. He can't do anything else to win, though. The dude cannot play defense.
He could have done a lot better things in the first part of the season.
Well,
you can't show up for a quarter of the season and act like you're great. And I'm not saying he's not good. I've said that over and over again. I'm with you. I think he's a top 3 quarterback. But I just this year ain't it. I'm sorry, the stats might have been good for a quarter of the season, but it's just nah. Sorry.
I mean, he had monstrous stats. I
don't care. I'm not a pad the stats type person for MVP. I hate that. I hate that it's always let's see who has the best stats.
So that's everybody in the race.
Right. But at least
so who should be your MVP? Who's your MVP then?
I think you have to give it if you're gonna ignore Patrick Mahomes, if you're having Chiefs derangement syndrome, if you're having Chiefs fatigue, and you want to ignore Patrick Mahomes leading a back-to-back Super Bowl champion team to a 15-1 season with I can give you that, 7 game-winning drives, you have to go Josh Allen.
You can even admit that this year was not Patrick Mahomes' year.
It wasn't great, but that's what makes
it. For 70% of the year, he looked bad.
And that's what makes it good.
He didn't look like Patrick Mahomes.
That's what makes it great. You're playing bad. You're not playing great. You still grinded out 7 game-winning drives. Your team's 15-1.
So playing devil's advocate, though, you're still rewarding him for the defense.
Nah.
And you're not giving Joe Burrow any credit for a bad defense.
That's not
true. Trying to say.
That's dumb.
That's the difference.
No, that don't even make sense.
What?
That don't even make sense.
That don't make sense. Okay.
But no, I think you have to go Josh Allen at that point. I'm tired of them just giving it to Lamar because it's Lamar. This would be his 3rd MVP.
I think you should just give it to Saquon Barkley and prove that you can actually have another position.
That would be
in
nice, but that's not going to happen.
Something besides the quarterback.
If they were going to give it to a running back, Christian McCaffrey would have got it last year, hands down. They're just not going to do it. Probably. They will not do it.
2-bomb, Flapjack. He says, Burrow on that airplane on time for the Pro Bowl. That's what I said yesterday, man. We just wanted to give the people what they wanted. They wanted Joe Burrow in the Pro Bowl so bad. They didn't want Mahomes. Okay, fine. We'll go to the Super Bowl, and you guys can have the Pro Bowl. So we want to make sure you get all the practice time you need. And if we put him in the playoffs and he gets a winning streak going, he might not make it to the Pro Bowl. So we'll just make sure he gets there. So, Steve, done. The league should be happy with what we've done yesterday.
Yeah, I thought you did some good trolling with the short yesterday, Mike. I was happy with it.
I mean, it was just I just kind of let it flow and it just come out.
It was a good time. Mike, Chief KT's making my point for me, though. If Joe was 15-1 with Mahomes stats, he would still be the MVP. They would absolutely give it to Joe Burrow. And that's kind of Josh Allen's argument this year is like, oh, well, Buffalo's record's great. He had a really good record, and his stats are good, so it's kind of the only way you can go with it. But like Lamar and them lost 6 games. It's like, I think if any quarterback was in Patrick Mahomes' position, they would get MVP, except for Patrick Mahomes.
Well, because Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly. He set a standard so high. It's just silly. But that's not how that should be viewed, I don't think.
It's a flawed system. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I guess so. But they'll probably give it to Josh Allen. I think they'll let
it's Josh Allen's to lose, in my opinion. They
can't lose it at this point.
They're trying to give anything to Josh Allen at this point.
Well, I mean, if you just look at the statistics, though, you could say Patrick Mahomes. Let's just go by just off of pass yards. Patrick Mahomes is like 7. He's number 7. Lamar's number 6. He's in the conversation heavily.
But Lamar gets to pad it on the running game.
And what about Jared Goff?
TDs.
Jared Goff's not mentioned in the conversation. He's number 2 in the league. And his team's got the 1 seed.
That's always kind of a weird one for me is why Jared Goff doesn't get a mention.
Hell, Sam Darnold. Talk about comeback player of the year. But, I mean, he could almost be in the MVP conversation.
Well, I guess they're saying that their team is so good that if you had anybody playing besides Sam Darnold, they'd still be winning games. Like, they're not winning because of Sam Darnold.
Would they be a 1 seed if they still had Kirk Cousins? Nah. Or they're not a 1 seed, obviously, but they were in the mix.
They had a pretty good record.
They had a good record. They were in the mix until they...
Wait, so you think Sam Darnold's a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins?
No, but I think he played really good this year.
Maybe this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, apparently Kirk Cousins is just done.
Yeah, I guess Kirk Cousins is done. I guess he's washed, so...
No, I don't know.
Was there anybody in the history of football that was better than Kirk Cousins' agent? That dude got the most money for being the most mid quarterback his entire life. That dude's like a billionaire.
Yeah, but I mean, by all metrics, Patrick Mahomes is in the top 8 quarterbacks on every statistic. So, I mean, it's hard. It's kind of crazy what kind of a standard he has to hold.
Well, the thing that's hurting Mahomes is the turnover. He has the high turnover thing, which he hasn't had a turnover in a while. But he started the season with like what? What's he got? Like 11 picks or something? I'm not for sure. But he don't get the ground. He don't get the padded ground touchdown. So his touchdown total is really low compared.
Right, he's not sneaking it in every other
Right,
drive.
so he's not at the 40 touchdown mark. He's at like the 25.
Patrick Mahomes had 11 interceptions. So I mean, Joe Burrow had 9. So not a huge difference there. I mean, if you look around the league,
What did Josh Allen have? He's usually a pick machine. What did he have, like 5 this year maybe?
his was a lot better this year. Hold on. Let me check.
So see, that's probably why they're going to give it to him.
Well, that and his team played pretty well. 6. He went 28-6. Well, Josh Allen did.
And then he probably patted another 10 on the ground, if not more.
Yeah, I'm not for sure.
We got Mike, member for 1 month. He said, did you see the video of Chris Broussard saying it's not fair that the Chiefs are sitting starters? Maybe they should have won more games. Dude, I was saying this yesterday.
Terrible take.
The Chiefs have broken everyone. From the beginning of time, I don't care if there's 8 games a year or 17 games a year. I don't care what it is. If somebody has clinched the spot, they're not going to play their starters when you cannot get anything out of it. We were not fighting for anything. Win or lose, we were a 1-seed lock. So why play anybody? Especially with Mahomes recovering from an ankle that he's been messing with. Chris Jones is messing with a calf. Like, you just don't play these guys on a meaningless game that doesn't get you anything.
This has been going on since the beginning of the NFL.
Honestly, it would have been more egregious, in my opinion. It would have been a bigger slight to Denver
To start,
if we would have started and beat them and knocked them out than to just do it normal and let the cards play out like they always would.
Every team in the league follows this practice, and it's been going on for years.
Well, except for Dan Campbell.
They were going for the 1 seed. They had to win to get it.
Dan Campbell, he'd already said he probably ain't gonna sit nobody. He's just wild.
He's a bad coach.
He's a
good bad coach.
He wants to be like a 1960s Chuck Noll, like a tough, hard-ass coach. It'll be his detriment there because, believe me, when they stop winning, when something goes wrong, the players will turn on him quick because he'll be that hard-ass that nobody likes.
Strikes me as a guy that wants to be an alpha male so bad he pumps steroids into his butt and he talks like his tongue's too big for his mouth. That's what he strikes me as. Like, he might not have had the greatest test scores in school.
Let's not get into the whole. Don't fight Dan Campbell.
I would never.
Josh Allen last time and claimed you were going to beat him.
I would beat up Josh Allen. Dan Campbell's a different story.
You're not beating up Dan Campbell.
No.
This dude eats the roids like Cheerios of the morning.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Get in the same.
Plus, he's an older generation.
Guy. Old man strength. He's going to kill you.
Yeah, he will.
Flapjack City with a 2. He says Lamar 23 MVP. Lamar 20. I'll spit it out in a minute. 2023 MVP stats versus Mahomes 2024 stats. I'm not for sure what they look like.
Here, hold on. I'll go check it. Let's just see what Patty did this year, right? So just passing stats alone, Patrick, 3,928 yards.
If you just look at the passing metrics, he's always going to beat Lamar. Lamar's a running back.
Exactly. 26
Steve, did you know
touchdowns, 11 interceptions.
It was said that anybody that thinks that Lamar is not a quarterback, if you call Lamar a running back over a quarterback, you're just I don't remember what was said, but this was said over the weekend or maybe like last week. There was a prominent guy that said if anybody says Lamar in this new school quarterback is not a quarterback. I don't remember. I don't know if they called him racist. I don't know if they called it what. But look,
it doesn't matter.
I don't have any qualms with saying that Lamar Jackson's a quarterback, but if you're going to base all of your awards off the fact that you're running the ball, you're running back. Maybe Saquon Barkley should just put a QB in front of his name and do a Wildcat like Lamar, and I mean he would be.
Well, let's see. What did
in
Lamar
the
do?
MVP conversation?
What did Lamar do last year? In 2023, he had a passer rating of 102.7 with 3,678 passing yards and 24 touchdowns with 7 interceptions, which is far worse stats than what Patrick Mahomes had this season. He was selected to play in his 3rd Pro Bowl and won his 2nd MVP award. As far as rushing goes, it's funny because they don't put rushing stats with quarterback stats. If you look up QB stats, they don't put rushing stats on there. So you have to look at that separately.
They hide them. It's a hidden statistic.
It really is. But then they like to use it. They
They'll
love to
use it, yeah.
use it. So let me see. Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes had better stats this season than Lamar did last year. If you
Lamar
just look at it.
Jackson rushing last year. Actually, in 2024, Lamar Jackson. This year. Wait, what? They really take it off. Like, you can't find it. You can find it
I'm
for an
telling
individual
you.
game, but when you try to get it for the whole season. Okay, wait a second. Here it is. No, that's not it either.
It's very tough to find them. Like just that. Well, I could tell you what it was though. 2023 had 821 yards of rushing with 5 touchdowns. So what's funny is if you
this
add,
year he's got 915. 915.
right. So
And he's only got 4 touchdowns, though, this year rushing the ball. That's lower than Josh Allen.
oh, I bet Josh Allen has really padded up his stats with that this year. Let's look at it. Maybe I'm wrong.
Who knows? Perry with a 2-bomb. Perry says Dan Campbell gets bailed out by Jahmyr Gibbs time and time again. Dude, Jahmyr Gibbs is a beast. I remember when Jahmyr Gibbs was rumored. Andy wanted Jahmyr Gibbs, and we said we were going to take him if he fell that low. And I remember people freaking out. We have Pacheco. Don't do it. We got Pacheco.
Who
And it's like,
cares? That's a
they're 2
different
running
class.
backs. Yeah,
There's a
it's
difference
wild.
between a first-round running back and a because that's the thing. First-round running backs nowadays are elite athletes because you
But
don't
Jahmyr
take a
Gibbs
running
is a guy that
except
could
for unless you're Clyde, you know.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs
But-
was a guy though that you could have definitely played in like a Jerick McKinnon type role. Pacheco didn't have to go anywhere.
Josh Allen has padded his stats this year with 12 rushing touchdowns. That is over double
That's
Lamar
4
Jackson, dude.
No, that's 3 times more than Lamar Jackson.
That's insane.
You know what else is funny? How's Lamar Jackson even in here? Because he actually has picks. Okay, he has picks this year. How many interceptions has he thrown?
I don't know.
Lamar Jackson 2024 picks.
I could tell you if I hadn't left the stat sheet. Let me see. 7. He's 24. No, that was last
He's thrown
year.
7
That was his-
picks.
No, that was 2023. That was his MVP season.
Oh, he only threw 1, 2, 3. He threw 4 this year.
No
Way
way.
better. Yeah, just 4. He don't throw
Just
the ball.
4? Well,
4,
yeah, he
but
ran
listen
for
to this.
915 yards.
Yeah, but look, he's fumbled the ball 10 times.
That's wild.
So he's technically got 14 turnovers compared to Patrick Mahomes' 11 picks. I don't know if Mahomes probably got credited with a fumble at some point, getting sacked in the pocket as many times as he has. But I don't think Mahomes ever lost one on a rush.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I wouldn't say that the rushing stats for a quarterback is insignificant. It does play a part, but I think that people weigh it too much. But
Maybe so.
They do. I mean, we're talking about Lamar Jackson rushed for 915 yards this season, and it was not necessary. Derrick Henry set the single season record for the Baltimore Ravens this year. He
Right.
had an actual running back. So it's just, I don't
Right.
know. It seems dumb.
Hey, if you're just joining us, we appreciate you. Hit that like button. Hit that sub if you haven't already. We're trying to get to 50K. We just passed the 40K mark. That's insane. Over 650 people watching. Appreciate you guys. I heard there's something going on with X right now. It's not streaming properly. That's an issue with X. They're trying to get it fixed, so whatever. Come over here to YouTube. Come over to Facebook. Find it somewhere. But yeah, Chiefs get some great news for the offseason, Steve. We were talking about that. That's the whole point of it. It's L'Jarius Sneed because the Titans actually lost yesterday and the Patriots won. So it looks like we're going to get number 66 in round 3, which is the second pick in the 3rd round. The Giants will get the first pick in the 3rd round. So, it's still a great pick, though. So that's the good offseason news. But, Steve, we said we baited this one a little bit. Baited. Tyreek Hill yesterday. Did you happen to see what happened with Tyreek Hill yesterday? Like, apparently he took himself out of the game.
Yeah.
That's what Mike McDaniels alluded to. And he kind of said he wants out. Like, he wants to be traded. People are saying the Chiefs are the number 1 place.
I don't know if
give
it
me
was
some thoughts
kinda.
on this.
I don't know if it was kind of, and I'm going to give you some thoughts on it. But real quick, do us a favor, stick around. we're going to talk about Tyreek Hill. Watch this ad, and we'll see you in a minute.
Today's show is sponsored by Manta Sleep Mask. You got to check this out. We weren't big believers in sleep masks. I thought they were going to be too big, too hot, too bulky, but Manta Sleep Mask changed that perception for me. These sleep masks are so comfortable. You can change the cup around your eye and find a custom fit. That way the mask finds your comfortability. With these pillows around your eyes, you feel zero pressure. And with a 100% blackout technology, you can go to sleep anytime, day or night, no matter how erratic your sleep schedule is. You can go with the sound mask, the pro mask, the silk mask, or just the sleep mask. You should go check out their website by clicking the link we have provided for you in the description below and read up on which option sounds best for you. But regardless of which mask you choose, use our code ACU10 at checkout and receive a 10% discount that we have secured through Manta Sleep for you, Chiefs Kingdom. Again, go to the description, find the link, find the mask you want to try out, use code ACU10 and get yourself some of the best sleep you've ever had in preparation of this long football season.
Do it. Go down to the description, click that link, and check out Manta Sleep. Mike, I don't think there's any question that Tyreek Hill wants out of Miami. He didn't beat around the bush yesterday. He started to beat around the bush a little bit, but then at the end of the interview, he literally yelled, "Yes, I want out," after he walked off. Like,
what? Did he really?
You? Yes. I mean,
didn't see that.
They asked him, they're like, "Oh, are you saying that you don't want to be here, or you're wanting to go somewhere else?" And he was like, "Man, I got to do what's best for me," and blah, blah, blah. And then they kept asking him the question as he walked away, and he just goes, "Yes, yes." Like, "Yes, I want out." Like, so there's no question there. And that's the
Tyreek Hill wanted to go there.
That's the thing about
So
it.
you get what
Tyreek Hill has had the biggest case of regret I've ever seen in my life since the minute he took that deal and ended up with it traded to Miami. He thought he wanted to be there, and I think Tyreek Hill has such an ego that he thought he was going to go there, and they were actually going to do something. And I said this a long time ago. Tyreek Hill, although not the smartest man I've ever met, he's not dumb, and I think the reason why he wanted to go there was because he knew that he could never be the center of attention in Kansas City. He wanted to be the guy for a franchise. And I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen as a receiver anymore unless you're Justin Jefferson. It's just very uncommon. And I think that's really what kind of was a catalyst of him getting out of Kansas City. A lot of people thought it was the money. I think that played a part too. I mean, he went from like what Brett Veach offered about $24 million a year, and he ended up getting like 30, 31. So, I mean, money did play a part. But I think after being there for a season or two, the grass is not always greener on the other side, brother. And he's had a lot of FOMO. He's been missing out on a lot of stuff. He's missed 2 Super Bowl rings. He would be more popular in Kansas City. I mean, he literally left before the spotlight got completely on the team. He
this
messed
dude could
up.
have had a Hallmark movie.
He messed up.
You know,
I
they
think
could have called
it
it the Tyreek Christmas with Tyreek or something.
It's a lot like not the same situation at all. I'm not comparing the situations, but it's kind of like Kareem Hunt. Like, I guarantee you, he wishes he would have been in Kansas City.
True.
And
well,
he
said that.
And he would come back. He would come back if given the opportunity. But Mike, that's the $1 million question. If you're Brett Veach, do you entertain that idea? I mean, we're looking at a pretty good receiving core. We could probably get Hollywood Brown back and DeAndre Hopkins back next year for a reasonable amount of money. And we got Xavier Worthy, who by all means is shaping into a Tyreek Hill-esque player.
Rasheed Rice is coming back.
Rasheed Rice is coming back.
Rasheed Rice could get hit with a suspension. So
true, but do you entertain it? I mean, I'm sure you kick the tires on it.
I 100% entertain it, and this is why. One, Hollywood Brown has came back for 2 games. He's been decently effective. He looks like he is the reason the offense is kicking forward. But if he has a good postseason, it is still very possible that he leaves during the offseason because somebody will offer him money. On the bad side of that, he showed why people didn't want to give him money. He's tough to stay healthy. So do you want to pay him a big payday and deal with this again? Take a chance on him missing the entire year? Do you take that chance? Do you not? Who knows? So you still got a little unknown with Hollywood Brown. Rashee Rice will be here next year. He should be healthy, but he's going to come off of a brutal knee injury. He's got a suspension he's looking forward to. He could still get back late in the season. He can miss 4 to 8 weeks getting back next year and then turn around and be suspended the rest of it. Who knows? We don't know what it's going to look like. D-Hop is going to be, 34, 35? He's already at the bottom end of his career. How effective is he going to be? So you're basically looking at Xavier Worthy. Juju Smith-Schuster's not it either, guys. Like, he has one good game every year. He's still got some injury stuff dealing with. He's not a guy that you're building a franchise around, okay? So how good is the receiving core? It's a lot of ifs. So, yeah, you 100% would kick the tires with Tyreek Hill. Now, the thing is, you're not going to pay Tyreek Hill what he wants. So if he doesn't take a ginormous pay cut, what's the point of even talking about it?
And here's something that a lot of people don't consider. But you do realize that Tyreek Hill is only 2 years younger than DeAndre Hopkins.
True.
So it's like...
But he's dealt with a lot less injuries in his career, too.
Yes and no. He's had a lot more trouble off the field than DeAndre Hopkins ever thought about. I mean, there's a lot of different things there, and I just think that I think the majority of Chiefs fans right now would take Tyreek Hill back if the situation was right. They'd take him back with open arms. I mean, Tyreek Hill's an elite level athlete, one of a kind. But
Tyreek Hill would instantly be the best receiver on this team.
Correct, but I also think that a lot of Chiefs Kingdom is at the point where they're like, we have DeAndre Hopkins, Marquise Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice. We don't need him. We don't even need him anymore. So guess what? Sorry, Tyreek. I know you want to come back. I know you screwed up, but the boat has sailed. We don't need you now.
But you don't have that. You have that this season. You do not have that next year.
So if you can turn around and get DeAndre Hopkins and Marcus Hollywood Brown, just say on a 1-year deal, both of them on 1 years again.
You put them back on 1 year.
And you spend a total of $16 million on the two guys. Do you do that before paying Tyreek Hill $25 million?
You don't pay him $25. If you could get Tyreek Hill and say, look, we'll give you the same $16 million per year, I'd take Tyreek Hill over both of those guys. Yeah.
Right, but that's not going to happen. I almost guarantee you.
Well, that's on Tyreek Hill. Do you want to win, or do you want to be a slapnut and go somewhere else and lose and be unhappy for 2 or 3
how
years?
much is left on his contract? I mean, there's a trade involved, too. You got to give up something for him.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, that's going to come with
we don't have to give up
caveat.
anything for the free agents.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, yeah, it's just something to think about. Mike, where were we at in the chat?
It feels a little odd, too, that Tyreek Hill through the well of leaving the Chiefs and then getting to reunite. Like, doesn't that just feel like that almost culminated this year with just Kareem Hunt coming back?
Right.
Just everything working in its favor. I thought at some point they was going to bring back Justin Houston. Like, they could have brought back Frank Clark. Who knows? Like, it wouldn't surprise me at this point. They brought back Steven Nelson. And Chiefs fans were happy about it.
They could have pulled Tomba out of retirement.
Steven Nelson should have been playing yesterday. He should have been part of that 38-0 blowout. Like, didn't you want to see what he had to offer?
Man, I knew when he came back he'd never see the field.
Didn't you want to see though what he had to offer?
No.
There's actually people being like, "Well, why did he have to play? There's no reason for him to play." Yeah, there is. The dude hasn't played football in a year. And I kind of want to see what he looks like.
Steven Nelson's not going to play in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think
if he does, it'll be like a snap or two.
I don't think they're planning on it. Like, they play in worst case scenario if they have to.
Yep. Our boy Mike Yoways with the gifted membership. Appreciate you, Mike. If you get that membership, make sure to thank him. Mike, we'll be doing our members-only live stream. Our December one got delayed because of the holidays and all kinds of crazy stuff. So we're going to be actually doing that maybe later today, tomorrow, something like that. It's going to be very, very soon. But we'll also be doing a January one in another week or two, so it'll be 2 back-to-back. We're going to be giving away a signed Felix Anudike-Uzomah jersey on this stream coming up. So you now have a chance to win that bad boy if you got that membership from Mike, so thank him in the chat. We got a 5 from the Angry Drunken German. He says the boys should send a few free sleep masks to Cincy fans for the playoffs. Mike, what do you think about it? You think we could get with Manta and see if we could get some kind of giveaway going for the Bengals fans so they can get a good nappy nap in while we're going for a third Super Bowl in a row?
Maybe. Last year we were going to send them the binkies. They still need the binky.
Sleep mask.
They haven't even grew up enough. They're not grown up enough to cherish a sleep mask. They're still in the binky phase.
We talked about putting a billboard up for Jamar last year. Who would be on the billboard this year? Just their fan base?
Yeah. It doesn't matter who you put up. They're the weirdest group I've ever seen. How do you make everything about you? Like you're literally a 9-8 football team.
They suck, bro.
And you felt as though that we owed you something. What are you doing?
Isn't it wild that Joe Burrow led the league in passing yards? Jamar Chase won the Triple Crown. The most receptions, the most yardage, and the most touchdowns of a wide receiver. And you had the league leader in sacks and Trey Hendrickson, and your team couldn't make the playoffs. That if that, you know what that tells me? Zach Taylor got to go.
I would fire Zach Taylor.
He's got to get out of town.
Zach Taylor's never won games early in the season that cost him every year.
How do you have that kind of talent on your team and you can't even make the playoffs?
Well, besides Trey Hendrickson, their defense is pretty much trash.
Man, we could keep harping on that.
Because they lost a lot of their defenders, man. They lost, I want to say they lost Master Bates.
They did, but I mean, if you're 22nd ranked in the league, Mike, I guarantee the Chiefs were in the playoffs with way worse defenses. Back with Alex Smith days.
Yeah, but you're acting like as though they missed the playoffs by a mile. They missed it by one game.
But they only missed it by one game because of what other people were doing. Like, they didn't outright get a playoff spot. They literally barely broke 500. You know, so I mean,
go to the NFC. You're number one seed at barely breaking 500.
That's a coaching failure.
Half the time.
To me, that's a coaching failure. But appreciate you, Angry Drunken German, with the 5. But Matthew, you've been a member for 11 months now. Says no such thing as too much elite talent. Hill, Rice, Worthy, Hopkins would be absolutely lethal. If you could somehow manage to keep what we have and add Tyreek Hill to it, I think the collective brains of all casual football fans and non-casual football fans worldwide would explode.
Well,
they'd be
you're
so
not
mad at
Kelce in that, and
right.
You didn't even put Hollywood Brown in it.
Right. But can you imagine? Kelce, do you think
But you
Kelce
couldn't keep all these guys and have Tyreek Hill?
Mike,
That is not feasibly possible.
3-peat or no 3-peat? Is Kelce playing that last year of his contract next year?
I don't know. Honestly, I believe if there's a 3-peat this year, if he gets a 3-peat, I believe Kelce might step away.
I think he's already got one leg in Hollywood where he thinks he's an actor.
Yeah, it feels weird to me this year. Like, I'm not saying he had a horrible year, but it just didn't feel like Kelce. And there's a lot of different reasons for that, you know? You know, he's getting a little older, but he played a lot of snaps. He just didn't produce. And then you're like, well, maybe the injuries caused the game plan to shift. Who knows? But
Could be a lot
do
of
you
different
really
things.
see Kelce playing for 3-4 more years? There's some people think he's going to play for 3 or 4 more years. Like, look at this guy.
Yeah. I think Noah Gray's
Steven, when you
just
saw
fine,
him at
though.
camp last year, this dude was hobbling around like he's 80.
Yeah, man. It's
Dude, we
tough.
were like, what is wrong with him? Like, he literally took him an hour and a half to get across the football field.
Mike, I'm going to be 40 in a month. And,
Yeah, you couldn't even put the pads on.
He's not far behind me. Travis isn't far behind me. So,
Do you
I
realize
mean,
Tom Brady was playing at an elite level and he was 4 years older than you?
yeah, but, you know, like, he wasn't getting touched and he was throwing the ball in 2 seconds. I could do that. I'm not saying I could do it at that level, but I mean,
You're
as
not doing it at that
physically,
Steve, let's be honest. You wouldn't even make it through a film session without going to sleep. So you would have
that's
been
correct.
cut.
I understand, but I could snap the ball and get rid of the ball before I got hit every play of the game. Now, would it be effective? Probably not.
Not you, no.
Exactly. But I'm just saying, quarterback's kind of a different beast. If you play quarterback the way quarterback is kind of meant to be played and can be played, and you're not trying to be Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, then absolutely, I think you can play to an older age as a quarterback, especially in today's league where they
Yeah, it's
coddle
tough for a receiver. Kelsey's going to also get beat to death by triple teams half the time.
Michael Flores with the 5 bomb says they should do another interview with Chase and ask him who he thinks will be in the Super Bowl. You think he was crying yesterday? I think they were all crying collectively yesterday. They had a little cry sesh.
Honestly, I'm going to tell you this, though. I think the team, at the end of the day, is going to be way more realistic than their fans.
Yeah.
I think all the team knew that the Chiefs wasn't going to play it, and they knew the Chiefs didn't owe them anything.
Well, you know how athletes are, Mike, especially competitive ones. And I think, like, no matter what they were to say in an interview, because Jamar Chase has a tendency to just spout off random stuff. But like him, Joe Burrow, a lot of those guys, Trey Hendrickson, they all put that on themselves. I think they're going to be like
Yeah, I don't think anybody's blaming the Chiefs.
Now the fans, on the other hand,
first of
all, NFL fans in general, it's questionable out there.
Yeah, the IQ's probably generously at 15.
It's questionable out there. If you just go on X or go on any platform, 99% of people that claim to be NFL fans don't have a clue what's going on. And the Bengals fans are the worst of the worst. I actually saw a short yesterday, Mike, where someone was interviewing Bengals fans at the Bengals game. And they were like, do you consider yourself a hardcore fan or just a casual fan? Hardcore fan. Who day? And they're like, where did Joe Burrow play college? Well, who's going to know that? That's what they would say. And then got a lot of Oklahoma.
The dude went to college in your home state.
He did. He was at Ohio State and LSU, and they couldn't
And you
get
didn't
either of
know
the
it?
two.
And then he wins a national championship at LSU and what may have been the greatest team ever.
One guy actually said Cincinnati, the University of Cincinnati.
Do you know how crazy that was stacked when you think about that Joe Burrow LSU team with Clyde Edwards-Helaire? And then he had Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Dude, and they had a tight end, too, that was a beast, and I don't think he ever translated to the NFL.
What year was that?
I can't remember the year. I'm too old, dude. Had to be like, what, 2019?
2019? Maybe? Yeah, I think it was 2019 because Clyde got drafted to us that year, right? I wonder what the roster was.
2020.
Okay, here we go. I found it.
2020-ish.
Here was their wide receiving core.
It's insane.
Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, AJ Acock was a freshman. He was a redshirt. He didn't even play.
Yeah, he never played.
Tyron Davis Price was a freshman that year.
He was good.
Terrace Marshall Jr. and then a couple more freshmen.
NFL.
Right. So quarterback Joe Burrow. Tight end was Steven Sullivan. So nobody big there. Let's see here. Who else did they have?
There was another tight end on that roster, though, that was – he might not have been the starter, but he was supposed to be pretty good. There's a documentary about that. I think ESPN did one about that, and they actually interviewed Joe Burrow about that. And, dude, crazy team.
Yeah. Defensively, they had Grant Delpit, Patrick Queen.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I mean, they had some Derek Stingley Jr.,
TGZ with a 2-bomb, Steve. He says any day the Bengals are sad is a good day.
Absolutely.
100%. Casey Lion Squad with a 2. He says we could elevate 2. Was it Chris and Uche? Maybe. Look, the Chiefs were so unserious about this game, Steve. They were so unserious about this game. Are you ready for this?
Josh Boucher was playing like middle linebacker or something.
We signed Blake Lynch. 3 days ago, and the dude gets 25 snaps, I think is what it was. The dude's been on the team for a day and a half. He don't even know. This dude's...
I think I'm losing you, or you're losing me.
I don't know which one. You froze up for a while. But I'm just saying, there's a guy that don't even know where everything is at Arrowhead Stadium. The dude plays 25 snaps.
He didn't even know how to get there to Arrowhead Stadium. I don't even know if he lives in Kansas City.
He probably don't even live there. He don't even have an apartment yet.
He's staying at the Motel 6.
Like, that's how unserious.
They left the light on for him. And
that's what I'm saying. Like, we cannot look at that game at any point yesterday and blame anybody for anything. You want to know what else? It's probably the reason Najee Johnson looked so bad is because half the defense was out of position. There was zero pass rush. Nobody was in the right position. You know what I'm saying?
Well, everybody on the team suffered because of the collective
Exactly.
team.
So even dogging on Najee a little bit, I mean, I know it's funny, but I mean, even his play is going to be elevated to worse because the whole defense was just
unelevated,
a trash heap.
De-elevated. I don't know what the word is, but
he was elevated to more suck.
Everybody was.
Yeah. It was hard to watch. It was hard to watch, but it was funny to watch. But again, I just find it so serious that some Denver fans were talking about how they finally got their revenge. Bengals fans acted like we owed them something. A huge subset of Chiefs Kingdom was like literally like freaking out and spazzing out about it. And I'm thinking, what is happening?
What are we doing?
Bro? Sit back, relax. This game meant nothing. This was worse than a preseason game. At least in the preseason, you're evaluating people to try to make the team. Here it was just like, dude, not only did Andy send out second and third stringers, he had probably the most vanilla game plan I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like, we ran the same play over and over again.
I'm going to check out the game stats. Hold on. This is going to be good.
Dude, it has to be the worst game you've ever seen.
It's got to be good. Hold on, give me 2 seconds.
Carson still had 8 carries for 25 yards.
Don't ruin it for me. Let me see. Let me see this beauty for myself.
We only carried the ball, Steve, 9 times, dude.
Mike, how are they going to dog on Carson Wentz when he was 10 of 17, okay? 98 yards.
The dude got sacked 4 times. He got sacked more than he almost had completions.
First of all, none of those offensive linemen. Let's talk about the offensive line for a second. C.J. Hansen, long way to go. Long way to go.
You think?
Norzad, long way to go. Yes.
Yeah.
And then
you think?
They're trying Kingsley at guard a little bit, I think.
He played left guard, and he didn't look all that bad.
Wanye had a bad day at right tackle.
Dude, he
not
even
a
got
surprise.
the false start like Jawan Taylor. Like, I'm almost positive they were trolling.
It just goes to show you, like, yeah, I'm just saying. Well, here's the thing about it, too. Nick Benito was literally on a playground yesterday. That guy was going nuts, and no one was there to stop him.
And he still only had 2 sacks.
I know, but he was there every play,
funny?
bro.
That makeshift offensive line, and they still only had 5 sacks. And they had more. I think Denver actually broke the thing. They had more sacks than any team in football because of yesterday.
Callie Cash says it best. He says they understood the assignment yesterday. Okay.
Yeah, they just didn't care. Look, our leading tackler was Cam Jones, guys. He was an unrestricted, undrafted free agent from 2 years ago. Joshua Uche was our second leading tackler. Najee Johnson was our second leading tackler, by the way, who a corner should never be in your top leading tacklers. Like, that is bad. But Cam Jones, Najee Johnson, Joshua Uche, and Blake Lynch was our top 4 leading tacklers. That shows you the quality that we put on the field, and we didn't give a rat's ass, okay?
Right.
Like, not one F was given. And
no.
So why did the fans want to give any Fs? Why do you guys care what Carson Wentz did?
If there was any bright spot to the game yesterday for like the, the third stringers or whatnot.
What's your bright spot? Steve, who are you giving the game ball to? Let's do game balls and MVPs. That's going to be hilarious.
I think there were 2 guys that looked like they could do more in a normal offense.
You're going to say Nico Remigio, aren't you?
Nico made a couple excellent catches, and Peyton Hendershot. I think
Peyton Hendershot is always like right there on the line.
Yeah,
you know?
I feel like maybe he could do a little bit. You know?
On a day that Justin Watson and Juju Smith-Schuster got to be the alpha males at wide receiver, they got to be the just swinging the dangalangs all day.
Who was?
Juju and Justin Watson, baby. They come out with a combined total of 2 catches for 9 yards, guys. I mean, come on. And there's still people that think that we need to make both of these guys a featured part of the offense. What? Never.
Yeah, well, Juju more than Justin Watson.
Juju, dude, if you're in a pinch and you got to have just Juju or nothing, I'll trust him.
I mean, Juju is fine. I mean, he does what he does, though, but he's never going to be like.
That's what I'm saying. He's not a wide receiver 1.
No.
But he's very much
he's a damn good 4. 3.
He's very much a wide receiver 4. Yeah, 100%.
You know, he can have them days. He can have some good days.
He can have a day. He can have a day. He can't have a day versus a. He's not having a day versus a Pat Surtain. That's not happening.
Mike, did you get this one? From Casey Lion Squad, the 2 bomb says best part of the game was Vele's catch. Insane.
That was a wild one.
That just summed up the day all in one play. It was cracking me up.
The crazy thing was,
not only
like,
were the Chiefs against you, Cincinnati, and everybody else, you know, the football gods were against you.
Just the fact that, like, look, we're playing third stringers, and Sean Payton and them, they've put out their full team. They're going for it on 4th down in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Like, it's cracking me up how hard they're playing. Yeah. Bo Nix comes out and he's going like 17 for 17 with 3 touchdowns. And like the announcers, like Romo and all them are like, oh my God, this is crazy what Bo Nix is doing. It's like Bo Nix is doing this. Like, it was the equivalent of if I put a uniform on one another and tried to play defense, bro. If Bo Nix couldn't destroy
Bo Nix would have had a bad day.
Dude, if they would have if anybody on that team would have had a bad day, you seriously got to question whether or not they should even be in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Bo Nix is a decent quarterback, and I think he'll be fine. But
Steve, I said that. Bo Nix is he was going to be a good pick for Sean Payton.
Yeah, I think so. Yep. Well, we appreciate you guys being here today. Do us a favor. Hit that like button on the way out if you haven't done that already. Also, shout out BetUS for powering the live stream. Shout out Man to Sleep. We appreciate you guys being here. And we got a lot more coming up this week, so keep your eyes peeled. As long as our electric stays on, we'll be doing what we could do. So a little bit of a blizzard outside, Michael, and it's coming down again.
Yeah, it is. And by the way, if anybody wanted to know, the Chiefs are finally getting to leave Denver. They got to leave about an hour-ish ago by the time we went online here. So they should be arriving back in Kansas City pretty soon. So
they should be there.
See what's up. And then, everybody be safe. Be warm, man. It's snowing. It's icing out here. It's crazy. Hopefully we don't lose power like Steve said, and we'll keep it coming. So I guess that's all I got, man.
Hey, now's the time. We get 3 games. Lock in, Chiefs Kingdom. 3 games. 3 games. Let's 3 in a row, baby. Let's go.
Lock in.
There was a sight from my soul.